Hello everybody, I'm KC and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk About. Today, let's talk about the My Little Pony fan-made audio drama, Daughter of Discord. For those who weren't around about 3 years ago, which is like 90% of you, for Valentine's Day back in 2016, I reviewed the extremely popular fan-made audio drama, Bride of Discord, after I surprisingly enjoyed it. And since that ended up becoming one of my most popular reviews, to the point that Discord popped up and traumatized me during my Heartwarming Tale review, sounding an awful lot like he did in that series, reviewing the sequel, Daughter of Discord, has been one of my most highly requested reviews. Like, people have been asking me to do this since before the series was even halfway through. Fortunately, after how successful the Bride of Discord video was and how much I enjoyed making it, I had every intention of covering this because just from the title, I was really excited for the story. I know they can generally be pretty divisive, but I'm actually a big fan of next generation stories. I know it can weird people out with certain characters having children, and with certain pairs, how that's even possible. To that I say, don't ask questions you don't want the answer to.
Our parents are having a baby too. They had sex.
I'm more interested in what characters raised by the protagonists of stories we already enjoy grow up to be, what a world is like to live in many years after Happily Ever After. That's what I find interesting and loaded with potential, especially with this pair and their Princess of Chaos. And apparently I wasn't alone here. The first episode of Daughter of Discord has over 7 million views at the time of recording this. That's over twice as many views as the finale to Bride of Discord. Heck, most of the episodes of Daughter of Discord currently outrank some of the most popular installments of its predecessor. Clearly fans were very interested in what the chaotic offspring of Fluttercore would get up to, so with no further delay, let's take a closer look at Daughter of Discord. And just like last time, because this is so long and there's so much stuff going on, I'm going to go through the story as is and bring up talking points where I think they fit. The first half of part 1 is pretty much setting up the new families of the main 6. The most focus is of course given to Fluttershy and Discord's unusual full Screwball, who inherited Discord's powers. Rainbow Dash and Soren have twins, Lightning Dash and Thunder Dash, and then later young Philly, Prism, great names by the way, Rarity's young daughter Gemstone, Applejack and Spike adopt a brother and sister, Cinnamon Stick and Cinnamon Roll, and Pinky and her husband Red Shoes, who looks oddly similar to some pony else, have triplets, Blueberry, Raspberry, and Cherry Pie. Just imagine the zany powers of Pinkie Pie multiplied. Well, okay, besides that one time, Pinky has finally met her match. And as the story goes on, they easily become the funniest part. In a story with Discord in it. But it's not all just kids of the main 6. We also have Apple Blossom, the daughter of Big Mac and Cheer Lee, and Dinky Doo, Derpy's daughter and Screwball's best friend, which was nice. I like that not all of the kids are connected to the main cast, though surprisingly, Flutterby Lily from the end of Bride of Discord does not make an appearance. Once we get into the kids' time at school, the episode does a good job of establishing their personalities. As far as the older kids go, who are Screwball's group of friends, they aren't just clones of the characters we know and love, something that is a concern with next generation stories. You can tell these kids have been raised by certain characters, but they're not just the same characters over again. Their designs and voices are distinct, and so are their personalities. The only group that kinda has this problem is the younger kids, but they don't get as much focus. The first couple of episodes really focuses on establishing this new group dynamic, from helping Apple Blossom find her cutie mark, to the kids' troubles at school, to even more shipping, because what else did you expect from this series? Seriously, the first time we properly meet these kids, they're already teasing potential pairings. But the main focus is on Screwball and establishing the conflict with her character, mainly her unique upbringing and how it affects her. The first incident that explores this is when two bullies, Gold Digger and Silver Tray, pick on Dinky and Screwball by not letting them play with them, calling them every harsh insult in the book, and then hitting Dinky in the face with a ball, causing her to fall in the mud. In response to this, Screwball loses it and turns them into basketballs. And I know this is supposed to be a bad thing, but I can't help but think that every viewer who's been in a similar position didn't grin a little bit during this scene.
Man, revenge is underrated. That felt awesome.
It's a nice way to set up what's going to become the emotional core of the story, Screwball figuring out who she is. Her friends and family stand by her after the incident since they know she was just defending Dinky, but between Fluttershy's concerns about Screwball's outbursts and Discord getting a kick out of the situation, it shows that there could be some trouble down the line. And yeah, Discord may not be the best parent, but I like how they portray him as a loving parent. He has a sweet moment with Screwball that night about how sometimes those tough moments where you make a mistake can help you realize who really cares about you. He He even mentions the moment that scarred everyone in Bride of Discord. We also get to see a bit of Screwball's less destructive chaos in part 2 when she creates a small candy garden of sorts in the Everfree Forest. It's the kind of thing you'd imagine a kid with Discord's powers creating, and it's pretty cute. At this point, we're reintroduced to Queen Chrysalis, who has a major role in the story, as does her son, the future king of the changelings, Prince Mothball. Did I mention how much I love these new names? Mothball is sent on his first hunt to feed on love, and of course tries to feed on Screwball. Luckily, Screwball can tell when ponies are lying, a power the series surprisingly never forgets about, and sees right through Mothball's facade. But since our two protagonists are kids, as soon as the truth is out there, they get along pretty quickly, solidified by Screwball rescuing Mothball from a manticore. See, it was moments like this that really made me appreciate how Screwball is written. It would have been easy to make her a girl version of Discord or something, given her powers, but the writing makes sure to include things Fluttershy would have taught her while using those lessons in her own way, thereby creating her own unique personality. So after a joke that actually causes a pause,
because my name's Mothball.
We're both balls.
Screwball and Mothball hang out some more, but their playtime is interrupted by their parents finding them and separating them. I should mention at this point that like how Bride of Discord was based on Beauty and the Beast, this story is loosely based on The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. And this is one of the more obvious moments of inspiration, which is fair because that's a great scene.
Bye.
Bye.
Now remember way back when I covered Bride of Discord? More specifically, when they briefly mentioned Discord's past? Wait, that's it? No, go back. I want to know more. Well, guess what? This story delivers. At this point, we learn that both Discord and Chrysalis have a complicated history, both feeling that they were betrayed by the other. We'll come back to this much later, but if this series didn't already interest me, this mysterious history and the conflict it creates for this story had me completely sold. When we get to part 3, we see Screwball try to learn more about changelings and why they're hated, and a little bit more of Mothball being ostracized in the changeling hive. So he decides to sneak out, and in one of my favorite developments, he and Screwball have the first of many secret playdates. This is one of the developments that I think makes this story slightly superior to Simba's Pride. Don't misunderstand me, I love The Lion King 2 so much, but with Kiara and Kovu, they meet for the first time as kids, and then they don't see each other again until they grow up. But I like the slow burn we get in this series. Screwball and Mothball meet up a lot and learn more about each other over time, and while Kiara and Kovu certainly had that as well, it mostly took place over the course of like 3 days, like every other Disney romance. DF definitely understands that true relationships take more time, and even if they're just kids now, it'll help make their eventual relationship feel more believable and real. Too bad neither of them are great at hiding this. Fluttershy and Discord certainly notice how much their chaotic daughter is floating on air, well, more than usual anyway, and acting a bit more girly.
She's perky. She's bubbly. She's optimistic. Where did we go wrong?
On a side note, I got a real kick out of domestic life with Discord and Fluttershy. The chemistry is still there, there are moments where it's really cute. I also love everything about overprotective dad Discord. Like, Discord is volatile enough as it is, but you add that trope to him, and it reaches a new level of rage that is just hilarious to watch. What's not as funny is Chrysalis' reaction to her son's new friend. Because this is Chrysalis, she thinks it's all part of a plan to feed on her and destroy her, which she encourages Mothball to finish with the one major thing this series has that Friendship is Magic does not. A full Queen Chrysalis song. And yes, there is technically this day aria, but the first time she was still posing as Cadence and the reprise was like 20 seconds long. I guess now's as good a time as any to talk about the songs. Unlike Bride of Discord, which had parody/cover songs for its musical numbers, Daughter of Discord has all original music. Well, except for the Daddy Discord song, but I think you all knew that. The lyrics were written by DF herself, and the music, as well as the entire original score for Daughter of Discord, was composed by True Sailor Comet, who's also the voice of Chrysalis. In total, there are 7 original songs in Daughter of Discord, and as much as I love the covers from Bride of Discord, I have to applaud the ambition here. This episode alone had 2 songs that went from light, bouncy, and bubbly to manipulative and foreboding. Hearts Are Made for Breaking is a definite highlight. It's got this real sinister vibe to it, from Chrysalis' modulated singing sounding really creepy to the chanting dancing from the changelings in the bridge, it really makes you feel the pressure Mothball is under, and it carries the same vibe of a classic Disney villain song. This is also the point where Chrysalis says that the reason changelings don't have hearts, a fact established earlier in the story, is because of discord. Like with Discord's story, it seemed like the language was very vague when recounting the details. Needless to say, my intrigue was rising. But thankfully, the song doesn't manipulate Mothball, and he and Screwball manage to part still friends. In part 4, we cut to 5 years later on Dinky and Screwball's birthday, where everyone is around to celebrate.
Applejack, is that your baby or mine?
Wait, they're what's now?
Here you go, little fella.
What in the name of Tartarus is that? Oh jeez, there's more of them. Look, like I said, I am all for next generation stories, but this seemed like a step too far for me. I'm not crazy about the idea of Applejack and Spike having a weird part pony, part dragon kid. It made sense for Fluttershy and Discord because, well, nothing makes sense with Discord, and I like that they worked around their difference in species by adopting kids. And is it me, or does the inclusion of Zany make Screwball seem less unique? Most of her strengths and struggles of the character came from the fact that she was one of a kind while still being labeled. And now there's 2 of them. It feels kind of like when they introduced that female Mewtwo in one of the Pokemon movies. It makes the concept feel less special. Is it just me? It's probably just me. Anyway, this is a very light entry. There are some fun interactions between the characters, especially with the girls, and I can't help but laugh at not just Fluttershy using the stare to discipline the kids, but yet another great Discord parenting moment.
Don't make me get the balloons!
What's so scary about balloons?
Lightning, have you seen it? We also get a song from Mothball, now grown up, but still just as confused at his position in the Changeling Kingdom. And it seems like he's still trying to please his mother and fill that role because that's what's expected of him. Mothball's character arc is honestly more complex than I expected it to be when I heard what kind of story the sequel was. And Mothball's frustration and desire to separate himself from the rest of the Changelings is not just because of Screwball like in most romances. Screwball just brought those feelings to the surface and challenged them. You can tell from how he admires the outside world and the fun Screwball has, to how he feels when the rest of the hive looks down on him as their future ruler, and even the subtle shyness in the voice work, that Mothball isn't comfortable in this position. He takes a liking to Screwball because she doesn't see him as any of those things, and that's okay. The first half of the story has Mothball realizing this is how he feels, and trying to learn how to deal with it. You know, like someone as they grow up. And this song gets across that confusion and desire to figure things out really well. Part 5 sees everyone at the Grand Galloping Gala, and I mean everyone. Well, except for the princesses. Twilight's back, all the kids and their parents, but for some reason not Derpy. The CMC are here, the changelings are in the shadows, and a character who I haven't really mentioned until now, Aquafresh. Aquafresh has popped up every now and then in the story so far, but hasn't stuck around because she's afraid of Screwball, which creates a problem when she tries to ask Lightning Dash out. Yep, as it turns out, Lightning isn't fond of cults, which is, you know, cool. Although I do find it odd that there were some people criticizing this when back in episode 1, I saw people complaining about how almost all the main 6 were opposite sex married. The lesson here? People will always complain, which is apparently why we need this disclaimer at the beginning of almost every single video. But of course, Lightning isn't willing to tolerate Aquafresh's attitude towards her oldest friend and tells her to get lost. And if you think this is the most dramatic part of this episode, you've clearly never been to the Grand Galloping Gala before. Rarity has a fight with Fancy Pants about,
"You know exactly what you did. Don't play innocent with me. I saw you with her."
oh joy. I'm not gonna lie, I was not a fan of this subplot. Mostly because it's just not a relationship trope I'm a fan of. It's possible to get a good story out of it, but the way it's done with Rarity seems kinda short-sighted. And Screwball is asked to dance with a mysterious stallion. Ooh. Yeah, okay, we all know it's Mothball, but they get a lovely dance scene set to probably the best song in the series.
We have a connection.
I could totally see this playing during the end credits of a Disney princess movie. When they sneak away to properly talk, Screwball convinces him to change into his true form in the cutest way possible, reaffirming how much I like these two got to know each other quite a bit as kids, just when Discord decided to eavesdrop on them and threatens to kill Mothball. Or maybe he was going to send him to that dimension he was going to send Treehugger to. I think either method is rather severe. So Screwball does the unthinkable. She made the Lord of Chaos stumble in front of every pony. This was intense, with things escalating in a matter of seconds of rapid emotional actions. It was one of the best cliffhangers in the series. Episode 6 is mostly dealing with the aftermath of pretty much everything that happened at the gala. Discord reiterates his stance on changelings being purely evil, and both Screwball and Fluttershy finally say what we've all been thinking for the last 4 episodes.
You're such a hypocrite.
Our daughter's right. You are a hypocrite.
What are you looking at? You've never seen a hypocrite before?
I won't say Discord's prejudices aren't completely unfounded with the benefit of hindsight, but it's still incredibly unfair of him to not even entertain the notion that Mothball might be different, given what happened between him and Fluttershy, which she's very quick to remind him of in a scene that is just, it's too adorable. And I never thought I'd say Fluttercord was adorable, but here we are. In fact, this entire part is really about Screwball's relationships with her family and friends, and how those relationships will shape her as the story goes on. From her relationship with Mothball getting more difficult as he's confronting his own identity while trying to protect her, to emphasizing how supportive her friends can be with a nice talk with Dinky, including a
Feel-good best friend vaudeville number!
Yeah, that. To even Twilight taking a moment to show Screwball that creatures can change for the better with friendship and love, using the stained glass windows as examples. You know, those things that the show forgot existed.
He's not the first villain we've forgiven.
And he won't be the last. Joking aside, it's a moment I really liked. It puts Twilight in her own mentor role as princess, similar to Celestia, using her own experiences and changing perspectives to help lead Screwball in the right direction, to make sure she doesn't become what every pony fears she will. It's a very reflective moment, perfect for this turning point in the story. There's also some foreshadowing to Chrysalis' master plan, which is finally carried out in part 7, where Discord sees a sight that sets him over the edge. Now, yes, the "you're cheating on me" misunderstanding is a cliche as old as romance, and like I said about Rarity, not one I usually love. But with this particular character in this particular situation, I think it kind of works. Not only was this affair a plan by the changelings to make Discord snap, but it's believable in this case. Like I've said, Discord is volatile, emotional, and has a lot of self-doubt. Plus, this isn't exactly unheard of behavior for him. This one incident brings back memories of all the times Discord has been betrayed by creatures he cared about, woven in very well with what we learned back in Bride of Discord, and how just the idea of taking the one thing that changed him for the better in such a despicable way is enough to make Discord mad.
Look out, Equestria. The Lord of Chaos has officially returned.
Oh boy, he's cracked. He's gone nuts.
And what's worse, he convinces Screwball to take Zany and join in on the destruction. Now, I'm not gonna lie, while it didn't come across in my React video, at first I thought this escalation was a bit forced. Like, a really quick way to make Screwball screw up so royally. But watching it again, it's an escalation that does make sense. She doesn't know how much her dad has completely lost it from how hurt he is. At first, they only cause chaos directly to ponies who have been mean to her, and Discord tries to pass off most of it as senseless fun.
A little chocolate rain never hurt anyone.
Chocolate rain, swim with pies while Discord goes insane. But as things go on, there are times where Screwball resists and thinks they're going too far. But that doesn't come to the forefront for her until she sees how her friends, and Aquafresh, were hurt from all of this chaos. I don't think she became as bad as everyone feared, despite what the episode tells you, but I do think she got enough of a taste of it that she never wanted to experience that kind of fear and pain again. In a way, she's feeling what her father has felt in his past, and this is her her turning point to either give into the hate and make Pony suffer, or decide that she doesn't want to be seen like that. And she does make that difficult choice by confronting her dad and running off with Zany in one of the most devastating and powerful moments in the entire series. The raw emotion and betrayal in this scene at seeing these two characters who were so close, despite what arguments they have had, have to have such a difficult moment just takes your breath away. And still, we're not done. This part had one last gut punch to throw. Oh, so that's why Zany needed to exist. Okay. I mean, it could have been a pet or something, or he didn't need to have powers, he could have just looked different, but beggars can't be choosers. This twist of Chrysalis disguising herself as Zany to drain Screwball and Discord of their love, and by extension their powers, was absolutely worth it. Sure, it was obvious to a lot of us that a lot of the more deceptive character moments could be the work of changelings, except for me, because I'm the densest viewer on the planet, but just because none of these characters can tell a changeling from a hole in their legs, and let's be honest, they can't really in the main show either, it doesn't make Chrysalis's plan any less devious and well orchestrated. She has all of her bases covered. It's not just that Discord saw Fluttershy with another stallion, she knew exactly which buttons of his to push given their shared history, and knew how to set him off. She knows what to say to Screwball to make her think the situation is hopeless, and she even heads to Canterlot disguised as Discord to push away any doubts the main six may have about turning Discord back into stone by just being, well, more of a creeper than Discord ever was, let's be honest. And points to the artwork in this scene for having the levitation magic show Chrysalis's colors. That's a great detail I missed the first few times. The full extent of her motivation will come in the finale, but as far as ability, this is an incredibly well thought out plan. And I can forgive the fact that the group didn't immediately suspect changelings. There had only been 2 sightings by anyone besides Screwball in the series, and there was no immediate threat of an invasion. Although they seriously need to work on a changeling detection spell because this keeps happening. So as we move into the finale, Discord is unknowingly about to be turned to stone again, Chrysalis's plan is going ahead, and the only one who knows what's going on is alone in the woods with only one plucky changeling prince to help her. Mothball manages to escape with a weakened Screwball and takes her to... Yay, Zeccora's back! There's not really much to analyze here. It's fairly straightforward with Zecora helping Mothball finally come to terms with his feelings in the way that only Zecora can, but it's just really, really nice to see her involved again, especially when you're barely getting any Zecora in the main show. Plus, I really like her new look. It's very flattering. But at first, Screwball isn't willing to even listen to him because she's kind of been through a lot of heartbreak over the last few hours, and as far as she knows, Mothball was a willing part of that, leading to this really, really melancholy reprise of Most Chaotically. But Mothball comes in trying to fix the reprise, at first unsuccessfully. Side note, I love the idea of someone doing a reprise and forgetting the words. But the genuine gesture leads to them confessing their feelings for each other, and yeah, it's adorable. But we can't celebrate yet because there's still an impending takeover and imprisonment that Screwball has to run off and stop.
I don't know what I can do, still I know I've got to try.
And luckily, she does and says everything she can between her parents straight before anyone's turned to stone. But just because one part of Chrysalis's plan failed doesn't mean the rest cannot commence. And it does. Chrysalis brings forth her army, and we get an epic showdown. Complete with crazy action from almost every character in this massive cast, too many laugh-out-loud moments to count, the kind of personal, psychological manipulation that changelings should really do more often, and continues to be used to its full effect in this series, and some emotional revelations. Oh yeah, there's all the stuff with Discord and Chrysalis and Fluttershy and stuff, but we'll get back to that. No, I was talking about this.
Choosy.
Oh, right. I mean, choosy.
See, I get why it wasn't Cheese Sandwich from the start because he didn't exist back when this was written, but why is he living under a different name? Is he on the run from the law for animal mutation experiments or something? Anyway, back to the action. You know, now that everyone has forgiven each other, it reminds me of this line back in part 6 where Discord said he'd lay down his life for Fluttershy. Well, turns out Fluttershy would do the same.
Discord, no!
Fluttershy!
See, this is what I loved about Bride of Discord, and I'm glad they brought it back for Daughter of Discord. Not Fluttershy getting hurt, I'm not a masochist, but even if you are certain of a happy ending and that everything's going to be okay, the story manages to make you doubt it in the moments that count. This series was never actually going to kill off Fluttershy, we all knew that. But between just how high the stakes have been up to this point, how quickly things have escalated, and just how emotionally powerful the performances in this moment are, is enough to really make you feel the weight of Fluttershy's sacrifice. Even if she'll be okay 20 minutes from now, it works in the moment, and for me, that's all that matters. That and this amazing fight song between Discord and Chrysalis that follows it. This is hands down my favorite song in Daughter of Discord. It's not the best, it's just the one that appeals to me the most. I love confrontation and fight songs to begin with, and the intensity of the moment just makes it even more exciting. The orchestration, the vocals, the lyrics, the counterpoint sections, it's just great. Except for this stunt Chrysalis pulls, which for me was the last nail in the coffin of any chance she had of being redeemed in the story. So I think it's time we dive full force into Chrysalis. There have been hints of why she's doing all of this, but earlier in this battle, we finally got the answer straight up.
Now I can have my revenge!
For what?
For rejecting me!
Yep. The whole reason Chrissy is doing this is because she loved Discord, but he didn't love her back. She was so hurt by this, in fact, that she used magic to rip her own heart out, which in turn affected all the changelings in her hive, except Mothball, who had a pony father apparently, who Chrysalis then proceeded to eat. Okay, let's unpack this. Now, I don't know about you, but when I first watched this series, especially back in part 3, I thought they were implying that maybe Discord had taken the hearts of the changelings and made them more vicious because of that or something. But nope. It was all Chrysalis because Discord unknowingly rejected her. He never outright said he wasn't interested, he's just really freaking dense. Chrysalis is ultimately a woman scorned, which, while it's not as compelling a motivation as I think she could have had, the peeks we got earlier into her past and the fact that she was possibly lied to and manipulated by her own mother, who said Discord wasn't capable of love, and then later Chrysalis sees that he had some kind of feelings for Celestia, makes it more complex than that trope usually is. Unlike Discord, she never felt guilty over the consequences of her actions. She only gets worse and does more vicious things. And she's even worse than Discord made her out to be in the beginning. That argument with Celestia that caused Discord to rebel? Chrysalis. The words that made Screwball despise Mothball for 10 minutes? Chrysalis. This even extended to her revenge on the main 6. She caused the tension in Rarity's marriage in disguise, and even drove a wedge in Twilight's relationship. Wait, what?
What was his name? Oh, yes. Flash Sentry.
Boo! Because Luna forbid one of them be single. Whatever, this is about Chrysalis. She lied, manipulated, kidnapped, split apart families, and almost kills, and she still isn't satisfied. Whether she had a heart still or not, she would still be trying to fill this gaping void inside her with this goal of gaining revenge and taking over Equestria. A void made by an adolescent Draconiquist who didn't know any better, and a commanding mother who was able to mold her vulnerable daughter into someone just as unforgiving and brutal as her. Chrysalis consumed herself in those thoughts of revenge rather than reaching out and taking the chance of loving again, even when it came to her own son, because it could mean being hurt again. In a way, it's a dark reflection of what could have happened to Discord if he hadn't fallen in love with Fluttershy, and how taking that chance and willing to change and be kinder helped him understand what love really is. And even though he kind of forgot that for the last few hours, he still understands how it feels more than she does. This idea really comes across in some of the lyrics to the battle song.
Oh, I know love can make creatures do crazy things. I'm not responsible for tearing you apart. You think that you know love.
Magic comes with the
Well, guess what? There's more to tell.
Which is also what helps Screwball and Mothball win the day once they're back together, figuring out that their love for each other is enough to overpower Chrysalis. And isn't it funny how this series has to keep reiterating it's an alternate universe, when some stuff like this became possible as the seasons were going by in MLP?
Sharing love is what made you different to begin with. You should share yours with Chrysalis. Give her all of it.
If chocolate milk is anything like love,
excess of it can make you sick.
We have the elements of harmony, Discord.
despite the numerous continuity errors they bring.
Not anymore.
Screwball and Mothball's revelation is a great conclusion to the story, showing that they can overcome every obstacle and prejudice and temptation to only look out for themselves that they face and become better and stronger together. That doesn't stop Discord from disapproving, though. Oh, and Flourish is okay, and everyone's story is wrapped up at a big party with a Disney Channel movie-style song to play us out.
The very thing I didn't know that I was searching for.
Okay, so, how does Daughter of Discord hold up as a sequel? Pretty well. First off, it's amazing to see just how much the production has improved. The editing and sound mixing is way smoother. There's even more talented artists on this to give every scene that extra bit of life in this production that were so ambitious that at points the series might as well have been an animatic. The background music is on a professional level, as well as the songs being diverse in style and incredibly well composed and performed. And the voice cast was exceptional. Since the cast is so large, it would take way too long to mention everyone, but some standouts are Sierra Nelson's beautiful performance of Most Chaotically as Sweetie Belle, everyone who brought the next generation of kids to life, each with a distinct sound, including both voice actresses for Dinky, and who I'd consider the core cast. Rock 29 Roll as Mothball had a big job to do portraying the only truly original character in the main focus, and he rose to the challenge, making Mothball immediately sympathetic and endearing, especially behind that usually alienating modulation. True Sailor Comet is absolutely despicable as Queen Chrysalis, and on top of writing the songs when she needed to perform them, it was incredible. De Wilsonator returned as Discord, and I am so glad he got so much more to do. Like I said in the past, I feel like Will got a lot of unfair criticism when he came in for the final episode of Bride of Discord, but now he gets to show a full range with every emotional twist and turn the story provides. Being funny, angry, insane, brokenhearted, and loving. There were a lot of bases to cover here, and he pulled it off expertly. I also got a kick out of his voice as teenage Discord. As far as Fluttershy goes, that's a bit complicated. For the first 6 episodes, she was played by Velvet Sugar, who had some huge shoes to fill in my eyes, but did a wonderful job portraying one of my favorite characters, especially with that squeaky way she says Discord's name.
Discord? Discord! Discord!
I love that. But Velvet Sugar had to leave the project, and Mary Medley returned to fill in for an episode. And it was so great to hear her again for one episode. But there was still one episode left, so Katie Patterson stepped in and filled the role well for the big final installment. But of course, where Katie Patterson shines is playing the main role of Screwball. This was the most important and arguably most challenging role in the series. The character who carries the entire story, going through every emotional arc with what's honestly a silly sounding voice. And it works. I don't think there's many out there who could have pulled this off with both silliness and dignity, but Katie did it flawlessly. It was just perfect. Overall, while I don't think Daughter of Discord is as strong as Bride of Discord as a narrative, it's a more than worthy sequel. It's definitely much more ambitious with tons of new characters, higher stakes, more complex production value, and telling a much larger and more involved story, as you can probably tell from how long it took me to recap this whole thing. And for the most part, it hits all the right marks. Where I think it falls short is its scale. The fact that there are so many characters means that there are a lot of subplots this time with both the main 6 and the kids to give everyone something to do, and some work better than others. Screwball's friends, for example, are very involved in her life in the first 3 quarters, but get less important as the story goes on. Their words do make Screwball see the error of her ways, and they all get to help in the final battle, but I just wish they got a bit more personal involvement towards the end, like how Applejack was involved in Bride of Discord. And the romances among her friends were pretty one-note too. It doesn't hurt the bigger story, just my investment with this next generation of ponies. It really comes down to the fact that there's so much to juggle here because there are so many characters and subplots going on, so some things take priority over others. Stuff like General Mantis, I felt like there was a lot more to him that's never explored, or the fact that the rest of the princesses are only mentioned once or twice, or the fact that Lightning tells off Aquafresh in one part and then the next part she's running after her. So depending on where your investment is, there are points where the story can be disappointing since some things go underutilized. Unlike Bride of Discord, which had maybe 2 major subplots, and they affected the greater romantic story. And since Bride of Discord was an overall much more intimate story, it was easier to keep things flowing smoothly. But with that said, what is there and fully realized is pretty fantastic. I had a blast watching this larger dramatic story play out. Even if some characters go underutilized in the story, personality-wise, they are very well portrayed, and the dialogue is way sharper with too many great quotes to count. I was fully invested in Screwball and Mothball's story, and the romance felt fleshed out and genuine. Chrysalis was an absolutely devious villain, and seeing the rest of the group in these new roles was a great experience. I don't think it's as tight or as strong as Bride of Discord was, but I still really enjoyed it. Plus, my feelings on shipping have softened over the last couple of years, so I came into this way more open-minded than with Bride of Discord. And while I still don't ship Fluttercord or anything like that, I know a good story when I see it. You can feel the love put into this production by all involved. A production that literally changed people's lives.
Will you marry me?
And that definitely counts for a lot. And since DF ended Daughter of Discord by saying it would be her last big audio drama, I'll end this by saying thanks to Dizzy Fanatic 2364 and absolutely everyone on this massive team who helped bring Bride and Daughter of Discord to life in a larger, more collaborative medium. It was a great time that was absolutely worth the effort. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.